Now we will begin with the fourth chapter of Fogler Chemical Reaction Engineering. Its fourth chapter is isothermal reactor design. Right now, isothermal reactor. Right, in isothermal reactors, we would be carrying out reaction under isothermal conditions. Right, that is, temperature will remain constant. Right, and one thing that I need to just want to introduce is that you need to know how reaction rate constant, which is K, depends on temperature. Right, we know that it's constant. Right, at a constant value of reaction, its specific reaction rate K will remain constant. Right, now guys, in the previous three chapters, right, what we have done is, in the first chapter we introduced you to the general mole balance equation, right, and then we derived general mole balance equation for batch reactors, flow reactors, packed bed reactors. Right, then we came to the next chapter, second chapter. In the second chapter, we applied mole balance equation to find the equations, to find the design equation for reactors. Right, using design equations, we calculated how much volume is required for specified amount of conversion. Right, that is, how much volume of reactor is required to convert a specified amount of reactants into products. Right, then, or this other thing that we looked into using design equations was the time required for specified amount of conversion. Right, in case of batch reactors. Right, so these were the design equations that we derived. This was for batch reactor. Right, this is for CSTR, continuous turret flow, continuous turret tank reactors. Then is plug flow reactor, packed bed reactors. Right, these are the equations that we derived in chapter second. Right, chapter 2 of Fogler chemistry. Then we came to chapter third. In chapter third, what we did, we further solved the design equations. Right, we further evaluated design equations that we derived in chapter second. Right, by expressing rate of reaction in terms of conversion. Right, and how we expressed rate of reaction in terms of conversion, we know that rate of reaction as per rate law is this, it's kind of this. Right, R is equals to, right, R rate of reaction is equals to K Ca Cb. Right, if you have two reactants. Right, then we expressed concentration in terms of conversion. Right, and once you get concentration in terms of conversion, you will substitute concentration this in this rate law equation. Right, so that you will get rate of reaction in terms of conversion. Right, so we substitute these kind of equations, right, in these design equations to further evaluate the integral. Right, you can look back the previous lectures that I have made on chapter 2 and chapter 3. Now in this chapter, what we will do is, instead of memorizing all these equations, right, we would be just solving all this using a logic. Right, you should know how to, depending on what type of reactor you have, right, or what kind of reactor you need. Right, you would be solving all these equations. Right, now in this chapter 4, we would be putting all these things together. Right, that is, we will put all the things that we have learned in chapter 1st, 2nd and 3rd here together in chapter 4. In chapter 4, we will learn how to apply whatever we have learned in chapter 1st, 2nd and 3rd. Right, so in this, right, first we will just look into this derivation. Then in the next video lecture, we will see how to design a CSTR reactor, continuous turret tank reactor, for the manufacture of 200 pound of ethylene, of a chemical compound ethylene glycol. Right, we will see how using CSTR reactor we will make a chemical compound ethylene glycol. Right, so in order to know that, we need to know all these things. Right, so in this chapter, the reactions that we would be doing would be isothermal reactions. By isothermal reactions, I mean that temperature would be constant, right, throughout the reaction, right? Since we are talking about reaction, right, so we need to know the rate of specific reaction rate constant, right, which is K in the rate law. If you remember, we have done this in school chemistry also, right, this value of K. So we need to determine this value of K as well, right, before we go ahead and design a reactor, right, for the manufacture of a chemical compound, say ethylene glycol. So let's quickly see this, right. In this derivation, we will put everything we have learnt in these 3 chapters, right. So what we will consider here is, we would be considering volume will remain constant, right. Here volume remain constant means if it's a liquid phase reaction, density change is negligible, right, so that volume remains constant. And if it's a gas phase reaction, if it's a gas phase batch reactor, the volume remains constant if it's a gas phase reaction, right. So this is a mole balance equation, right, for a batch reactor. If you remember, this is the mole balance equation, right. In batch reactor, the inflow and outflow is 0, right, because what we do is we put reactants in the batch reactor, right. There is no continuous inflow and outflow of reactants and outflow of products in batch reactor, right. So these 2 terms would be 0, right. So if we solve this and this, right, we'll reach here, right, we'll get this equation. This is a mole balance for constant volume, right, batch reactor. We'll just modify this equation, right, and we'll just write the same equation in this form, dCA upon dt. We know that concentration can be measured. It's a variable. If you carry out a reaction, if you carry out a reaction, the concentration of reactants will go down, right, will decrease, right, and concentration of products will increase, right. So this concentration, right, concentration of reactants and products is a variable which is changing while the reaction is being carried out, right, and this variable can be measured, right. So we'll define the rate of reaction in terms of measurable variable concentration. What we'll do is, we know that concentration is moles per liter. Here dNA, Na is number of moles of reactant, V is volume, right. So I'll take this here, right, N upon V. If we do N upon V0, V is equals to V0, right, because this is constant volume reaction. So dNA upon V0 dt, this moles per liter, right, or moles per unit volume, this is your concentration, right. So I'll replace this with dCA upon dt, right, and is equals to RA. We have this from this design equation, right. So this design equation now we have modified into dCA upon dt RA, right. We'll multiply, since we are talking in terms of reactants, right, so we'll take negative of both the sides, right. Now what is this? This is change in concentration of reactants with respect to time. dCA upon dt is change in the concentration of reactants with time. So change in the concentration of reactants with time is what? Is rate of reaction, right. So this is rate of reaction RA, right, as per the definition of rate of reaction, which is change in concentration of reactants or products with time. Now let's consider a second order reaction where A changes into B, right. We'll apply this design equation for batch reactor, right. This is the design equation for batch reactor, and since we are considering a second order reaction, it's a second order reaction, right. So rate law for second order reaction would be RA is equals to KCA square. Why Ca square? Because it's a second order reaction. That means rate of reaction depends on the concentration of reactants to the power of 2, right. This is a second order reaction, right. Order is 2 for this reaction. Now if you remember, in chapter 3rd we've built the stoichiometric tables, right. In those using those stoichiometric tables, we just what we did, we expressed concentration in terms of conversion, right? These things are expressed using stoichiometric table, right? So we have done stoichiometric table. You can look back the reaction if you have any doubts for this, right? From stoichiometry for constant volume batch reactor, we have this Ca is equals to Ca0 1 minus x, right? And rate of reaction, now we have three things, right? We have this, right, dCA upon dt minus Ra. The second thing we have rate law. The third thing we have from stoichiometry, concentration in terms of conversion, right? And how we reached here, Ca is concentration at time t, right, which is equal to Ca0 initial concentration. So as the reaction proceeds, right, reactants will change into products, right? So how much of reactant will react, how can you express that in terms of conversion, right? This is your Ca0x, right? And we know that x is equals to Ca, right? How much have reacted, how much is initially you have taken, right? This is your concentration. Concentration is expressed on per mole basis, right? This is what you have. Now this concentration at time t is equals to initial concentration minus how much have reacted, right? You can see from here how much have reacted is Ca0 dot x, right? So you can put it over here in this equation. What you will get is Ca0 1 minus x, right? This is what you have. So here concentration is in terms of conversion x, right? Now what you will do is you will substitute this Ca in this rate law equation. Ra is equals to k Ca square. What you will get is this, right? By substituting Ca here, you will get k, right? Ca is this, so Ca0 square 1 minus x whole square, right? Now you will take this equation, right, and put the value of Ra from here. You put the value of Ra in this equation, right, from here, right? So once you take this here, right, what you will get is, you will not take this here, you will take this value of Ra in this equation, right, in this design equation of batch reactor, right? So you have Na0 dx upon dt is equals to minus Rav V0, right? So you take this V0 here, Na0 upon V0 dx upon dt is equals to minus Ra, right? This is moles per unit volume. This is your concentration as per the definition. Dx upon dt is equals to minus Ra. So value of minus Ra would be taken from here. This is k Ca0 square, right, 1 minus x whole square, right? So from 1 with 1 Ca, this is how you will do it, calculate it out. Dx upon dt is equals to k Ca0 1 minus x whole square, right? We are doing this for second order reaction, just remember this, right? Now to further solve this equation, right, what you have done is, what we will do is, we'll just rearrange this as per simple mathematics, right? We'll bring this here, 1 upon k Ca0 1 minus x whole square, right, is equals to dt. Now we integrate both this equation on both the sides, right? What you will get is, after integration, t is equals to 1 upon k Ca0 integral of 0 to x dx upon 1 minus x whole square, right? This is what you will get, right? This equation will tell you time required for specified amount of conversion x, right? How much time is required to convert specified amount of reactants into products, right? For example, if you want to have 90% of conversion, right, x would be 0.9, right? You will put the value of x as 0.9, you will get it. And if you calculate the same equation, right, for first order reaction, right, it would be, the expression would be little different, right? It would not be this, right? For first order reaction it would be log 1 upon 1 minus x, right? For first order reaction the time would be, it would be like this: T is equals to 1 upon k log 1 upon 1 minus x, right? 1 upon k log, this is for first order reaction, this is for second order reaction, right? Now what you will modify for first order reaction is this rate law. Rate law would be, for first order reaction, rate law will be R is equals to KCA, right? So here you will put the value of this Ca here, right? So this is what you will get, right? In this Ca, the value of Ca will come from here. Ca is equals to Ca0 1 minus x, right? This is what you will mention here. R is equals to, or you just take it minus, R is equals to K Ca, in place of Ca you will mention Ca0 1 minus x, right? And then further solve in similar way, you will reach at this solution of this equation, right? So this is for second order, this is for first order, right? Now using this equation you can find time required for specified amount of conversion x, right? So this equation will give you what it will give you. This will give you the reaction time, right? Now just consider one important thing. Let me just rub this off. This is the time for reaction, right? When reaction will start, from the time the reaction starts till the time you are done with the conversion, that is conversion of reactants into products, right? But there is a term called as cycle time, right? There is a term called as cycle time, or what we call as total cycle time. What all things does this total cycle time include, right? Here this includes the reaction time, right, for the time reaction is taking place. But you have to consider other things as well, because if someone will ask you how much time will take for you to convert, if you are doing a reaction say for 90% conversion, right? If you want to achieve 90% conversion, say here, let me write it over here. If you want to achieve 90% conversion, that is 0.9 for first order, for say second order reaction, right? So it would be T is equals to 1 upon K Ca0, right, 0.9 upon 1 minus 0.9, right? This I am substituting in second order equation, right? Now suppose we know that this is an isothermal reaction. As I said earlier, it's an isothermal reaction, so value of K will remain constant, and this Ca0 is constant. This is the initial feed, right, that you put in the reactor, in the batch reactor. So let's say if KCA0 is equals to 10 to the power of minus 4, right? If this is equal to 10 to the power of minus 4 per second, right, then this time will come out to be the time for the second order reaction, right, will come out to be 2.5 hours, right. If we take kCa0, right, T is equals to 1 of, this is per seconds, per second unit, right. Here kCa0 would be 10 to the power of minus 4, right, 0.9 upon 0.1, and this would be around 9 into 10 to the power of 4, right. This will come out to be this, if you just calculate out this will come out to be around, after doing all this calculation, this would be 2.5 hours, right. For a second order reaction, 2.5 hours will take for 90% conversion, right. Now if I do the same for this first order reaction, if you have the value of x as 0.9, right, and value of k as say 10 to the power of minus 3, right, 10 to the power of minus 4, right. Here it was 10 to the power of minus 3, right. So this will come out to be, if you just calculate out everything, it would be around this is 10 to the power of 9,000 second, which is this much, 2.5 hours, right. Now for first order reaction, it would be T is equals to 1 upon 10 to the power of minus 4 log 1 upon 1 minus 0.9, right. If you calculate out this, the value will come out to be 6.4 hours, right. For first order reaction, it would be 6.4 hours, right. For first order reaction 2.5 hours, for second order for first order reaction it's 6.4 hours, for second order reaction 2.5 hours, right. Now this is your reaction time, right. Now what we want to know is total cycle time, right. What is the total cycle time? Total cycle time includes, right, the total cycle time will include charge feed to the reactor, because you have to spend some time in filling up the reactor, right, that would be TF, time to fill the reactor. Then you have to heat the reactor, because you need to give some energy to it so that reaction can start, right, time to heat to reaction temperature, right. Then carry out reaction, it will take this much time to what we have calculated out, right. Then you have to empty and clean the reactor, you have to include that time as well. So TF, you will denote this cycle time would be denoted by TT, right, time to fill the reactor, right, time to heat the reactor, the reactants, right. Then you have carry out the reaction, right, reaction time, plus you have, this is denoted by E in most of your books, right. Then you have time to clean the reactor once the reaction is done, right. Once you are done with the reaction, then you have to clean the reactor as well, you have to isolate the products, right. Then you have to clean the reactor, you have to estimate, you should have estimate for that time as well, right. So that's your total cycle time, right. Empty and clean the reactor, right, TC, clean the reactor. So when giving the estimate of how much time is required to carry out the reaction, you have to consider time to fill the reactor with the reactants, right, time to fill the reactor, right, time to heat the reactants, right. Then you have reaction time, which is this what we have calculated, reaction time, right. Then you have time to clean the reactor, time to clean reactor, this is your TC. So this is your total cycle time here, right? This is what total cycle time is. So if you want to estimate how much total time is required, you don't have to consider just this reaction time, but you have to consider this total cycle time, right? That includes time you start filling the reactor to the point when you have to the point you clean the reactor. From starting from feeding the reactor, ending with cleaning the reactor. You have to estimate, you should have estimate of all this time, right? That's your total cycle time, right? Now in the next video lecture, we'll just continue rest in the next video lecture. We would be designing a CSTR reactor, right? We will design a CSTR to produce 200 million pound of ethylene glycol, right, by hydrolyzing ethylene oxide, right? We know that ethylene oxide is this. If you hydrolyze it, you need to do it in the presence of sulfuric acid. What it will form is ethylene glycol. This is your ethylene glycol, right? So to carry out this reaction, right, we will design a CSTR reactor, right? So again, we would be looking into all these design equations, right, all these kind of things, right? So we will do this in next video lecture, but before that, to design a reactor, right, to carry out a reaction, right, to design a reactor to carry out a reaction, we need to know the specific reaction rate constant, that is K, for this reaction, right, hydrolysis of ethylene oxide. Now this data, that is the value of K, which is at constant temperature, right, would be calculated using batch data, that is used by carrying out this reaction in batch reactor, right? So that if we carry out this reaction in batch reactor to find the value of K, right? To find the value of K, we need a batch data. That is batch data you will get once you carry out the reaction in batch reactor, right? Because you need the value of K, right, here. So we will see this in next video lecture. I hope this is clear. Thanks.